Welcome to my channel. My name is Joshua Parks-Stanford.
And I'm Alicia.
And today we're doing chapter 14 of Abraham and his many sons. I don't think I'm on that. But let's get to the scripture.
Genesis 14. At the time when Amraphel was king of Shinar, Arioch king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer king of Elam, and Tidal king of Goyim, these kings went to war against Bera king of Sodom, Birsha king of Gomorrah, Shinab king of Admah, Shemeber king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. All these latter kings joined forces in the valley of Siddim, that is the Dead Sea Valley. For 12 years they had been subject to Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings allied with him went out and defeated the Rephaites in Ashtoreth Karnaim, the Zuzites in Ham, the Emites in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in the hill country of Seir, as far as El Paran near the desert. Then they turned back and went to En Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and they conquered the whole territory of the Amalekites as well as the Amorites who were living in Hazazon Tamar. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, marched out and drew up their battle lines in the valley of Siddim against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goyim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and when the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some of the men fell into them, and the rest fled to the hills. The 4 kings seized all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food. Then they went away. They also carried off Abram's nephew Lot and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom. A man who had escaped came and reported this to Abram the Hebrew. Now Abram was living near the great trees of Mamre, the Amorite, a brother of Eshcol and Aner, all of whom were allied with Abram. When Abram heard that his relative had been taken captive, he called out the 318 trained men born in his household and went in pursuit as far as Dan. During the night, Abram divided his men to attack them, and he routed them, pursuing them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. He recovered all the goods and brought back his relative Lot and his possessions, together with the women and the other people. After Abram returned from defeating Chedorlaomer and the kings allied with him, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, that is the king's valley. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High, and he blessed Abram, saying, "Blessed be Abram by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and praise be to God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand." Then Abram gave him 1/10 of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abram, "Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself." But Abram said to the king of Sodom, with raised hand, "I have sworn an oath to the Lord, God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, that I will accept nothing belonging to you, not even a thread or the strap of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say, 'I made Abram rich.' I will accept nothing but what my men have eaten, and the share that belongs to the men who went with me, to Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre. Let them have their share."
All right, so let's end at chapter 14. And before we move on, basically
There was a total of 4, well, there was a total of 9 kings. There was 4 kings versus 5 kings. And then after the fact, that's when Abram stepped in, because he had to fight back for Lot. And because Lot has settled in Sodom, he technically was helping out Sodom by getting Lot back, but he wasn't doing it for Sodom. He was doing it for Lot because that was his relative. I think in one of the last videos I talked about him being his son. I don't think that Lot was his son, but I don't.
No, Lot was his cousin.
It was his cousin. Yeah. So he's not his son, but it's because they were family, he wanted to help them out. So he wasn't necessarily helping Sodom, but yeah. So finish. So yeah, it was 4 kings versus the 5 kings.
Yeah.
And then because Sodom and Gomorrah, those kings were part of the 5 group. The group with the 4 kings, they actually won. So even though they had 1 extra, they still lost. And so Sodom and Gomorrah, their kings had fled the scene. They left. And when they left, the rest of the kings, the 4 kings that they were going against, they came and took all their goods. And along with their goods, they took Lot because he had settled there and he was, defending that city.
Yeah.
And so Lot was also taken with his belongings. And so when Abram had found out about it, he got mad and he used all his people, like everybody in his army. They used all their resources and they came in and they got him and they rescued him. So when they rescued him, they took him back to Sodom. And then the Sodom king got excited because, obviously Lot was where Sodom was. So, or other way around. Lot was where it was in Sodom. So the Sodom king got happy and he kind of like thanked Abram and he's like, you're so good, like thank you so much, and like all this stuff. So I think it was out of pity that Abram had gave him some of his stuff. He had gave him like some of his wealth and like some of his livestock, but it wasn't necessarily for him. He was just doing it out of pity. Yeah. And then the Sodom king kind of got greedy. He was like, no, I don't want your stuff. I don't want your livestock. Just give me your people. Because clearly my people lost this fight and your people just came back just to come rescue Lot and get some of his stuff back. So he knew his army was stronger. He knew that they was a force to be reckoned with. And because they were trying to get powerful at the time, they had so much access to all these resources already, but they wanted the people because people is what makes the city and people can help it grow. So he wanted his people and he kind of got greedy. And so again, we see that Abram was following God's rules. He followed what he said. He listened to him without saying no. Like, I give you my people, you give me all your stuff. Like, I can have all this wealth to myself. Like, thinking in the hindsight, like, there was a chance that we might take something, because it seems like it might be more. Because, selfishly, that might be what we want. But he said, no. God said, I shouldn't even take a strap of a sandal from you. Like, I shouldn't even take the dirt that you got on your feet. Like, I don't want anything from you. I was being nice giving you something, but he didn't want anything back from him. And so he was like, I'm still following God. I'm still obeying. I'm still using, his judgment and, following by faith. I'm not going to, give in to what he's saying. So he was like, I don't want nothing you got. So, yeah. We don't have to talk about specifically about the kings because they didn't really matter. Honestly.
Yeah,
it was more of like, it's like United Nations. Like, you got some people on this side, there's some people on this side, or you're divided or you're not. And so that's kind of how it was. Like the wars like that we have now. Like, you got some people fighting with, like the Americans fighting with, I don't know who we're fighting with. I don't know. But it's just like you got some people that are on certain sides and fighting them. So specifically, those kings didn't matter. We're talking about Sodom, Gomorrah, and Abram, mostly. So they lost, basically. So, yeah. You have anything to add?
Not really, because you just said what I was about to say, but yeah.
What would you say? What would you say this means about like God's character? Or like, how do you think that God's character is shown in this? And what do you think this means for the people?
That he really cared about his people that followed him.
Yeah.
And that he really wanted other people to follow him, but they weren't following him. So basically, they didn't get their city destroyed, but the resources?
Yeah.
Yeah, the resources were destroyed.
Yeah, everything was taken from them because they didn't follow God. That was good. And yeah, as far as people with God, it seems like the people that are like against God right now are Sodom and Gomorrah. and like they went in thinking, oh, we got 5 people, we gonna beat these people and this and that. And God said, no, y'all not following me, y'all wicked, and y'all not gonna win this. And they didn't. So, but they were again saved by grace, by the grace of God, is that they got Lot back and they got access to some resources because of Abram, because it was by grace. It wasn't because, oh, you know, we deserved it. You didn't deserve anything, but God showed him that grace. And so it just, I think that's what I got from that as well. Just like his character, like he is continuously, you know, showing us love even though we don't deserve it. Showing us like, you know, they could be killed. They could have been killed in battle, but they weren't.
They definitely could have.
Yeah. So.
But God protected them.
Yeah.
Well, anything else to add? All right. Looks like this is the end of my video. This is part number. I lost track. We'll figure this out. But make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and do all that. Follow her page at.
Do you not know it?
No, I do know it. I'm
So
waiting for
say it.
I'm waiting for you to
Just
say
say
it.
it, bro.
Okay, JIFE 24/7.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day.